Hey, have you ever been in a situation where like you know who God is, but you really want to control what it is that God does? Hey, I'm Mark, and this is your Cornerstone connection. I can remember a time I was serving in a church, and this church had did this event, and there was this really big event, right? It brought in a lot of people. Well, the first time that they did this event, it was when Facebook advertising was a brand new thing. So they got on this and they did this Facebook advertising, and they brought in like 5,000 people to the event. And then by the time that I had gotten there, they were still doing the exact same event. They were afraid to change anything because in their minds they had found the magic formula, and they kept wanting to get the same results from that event. And by results, I mean the same number of people. It was funny. It was like there was maybe 1,000 people at the event. Well, they claimed that there was 4,000 people. How did they get to 4,000 people? Well, we started at 1,000, and they were like, well, there were probably people that didn't check in, so there was probably at least 2,000, And then we had all of our volunteers, so that got us to 3,000. And then there were people that came in late, so yeah, we had like 4,000 people that were there. And I was like, what? I was like, no. But in their minds, the event was not a success. And this event had to be successful. They were like, no, this is what you do. And this is the results. It will get you guaranteed. And I was like, I don't know about that, man. In today's reading, it was interesting because we were reading here and we're in Matthew chapter 16, right? And Peter, man, I love Peter. This guy is incredible. Peter goes from the beginning of this section where Jesus says, you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church. And then just, one or two verses later, Jesus looks at Peter and says, get behind me, Satan. You see, here's the deal. Peter had a correct confession. Peter knew who Jesus was. But where Peter got off is when Peter tried to control what it was that Jesus was going to do. Well, let's jump in there together. I'm in Matthew chapter 16, and I'm going to start up here at verse 13. It says here, I'm turning 40, and they tell me that you need glasses at 40, and I don't know if that's true or not, but all the words in this Bible look blurry. Well, it's fine. It says, now when Jesus came into the district of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do the people say the Son of Man is? And they said, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, others say Jeremiah or one of the prophets. But he said to them, who do you say I am? Simon Peter replied, you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. Amen. And Jesus answered him, blessed are you, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed this to you, but my Father who's in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. I'll give you the keys to the kingdom of heaven. Whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Isn't that crazy? I imagine Peter's feeling pretty good. He's feeling pretty good about himself. And then we come down here to verse 21. From that time, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed, and on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him. Okay, time out. Your ego is a bit too large when you try and rebuke Jesus. So this is our first red flag. But Peter rebukes Jesus, says, far be it from you, Lord, this shall never happen to you. But he turned and said to Peter, get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not setting your mind on the things of God, but on the things of man. Man, to go from on this rock I will build my church to get behind me, Satan. It's such an interesting thing. Peter wanted to control what it was that Peter had his own agenda. He's like, this is what should happen. Jesus, you're going to go on. You're going to become a political superpower. We're going to put Israel back on the map. It's going to be great, like the days of King David or King Solomon. It'll be amazing. It'll be great. And here Jesus is saying, no, that's not why I'm here. I am here to die for the sins of man and to be raised to life again, to give people hope where they have no hope. Right? Amen. But Peter didn't have his mind right there. We can look through the Old Testament and it's chock full of examples of people, or even the New Testament, of people that try to do exactly what Peter did, right? Jonah sitting at the gates of Nineveh as God forgave them, as Nineveh repented, and being angry and bitter. Why? Because Jonah wanted God to send fire from above and to devour Nineveh. But that wasn't God's plan, was it? Absolutely not. We can even think of New Testament examples like John the Baptist, right, who was convinced, Jesus, you should become this political power. Are you doing it? Why not, right? There are all kinds of examples. So if you've ever felt in that situation, and I probably have at times, I'm sure you have, right, where you're like, why isn't this going the way that I think it should go? Know that you're not alone. There's a lot of company. It is very near and dear. We have this great understanding of who Jesus is, but then we oftentimes, and I think it's just human nature, we almost want to bring God down and put us up above God to dictate what he does. But God, there should be this many people at my program. But God, I should get this job. But God, I shouldn't have to deal with this illness. I should be healed. Why isn't this happening? What's going on? The reality of it is that we don't dictate what God does and what God doesn't do, but we get to participate with God, right? What Peter needed to do in that moment was to trust Jesus and hang on to him because something was about to happen that would forever blow Peter's mind, right? When you're in those seasons of uncertainty and you're like, what is happening? Hang on to Jesus because I believe that Jesus is going to do something that is going to blow your mind because he loves us. Amen. Well, hey, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.